Okay, before beginning this interview, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Carol Meyerson, and I am currently an 8th grade science teacher and 7th grade language arts teacher in Howard Lake, Waverly, Winstead, Minnesota. I've been teaching for 8 years, and I have a Master's of Arts in Education from St. Mary's University, and I have a certificate in environmental education from Hamline University. I am applying for this job because throughout my career I found I truly enjoy helping other teachers. I have a passion for teaching, but I have found that includes adult learners, teachers, not just my students. In my own classroom, I love using technology and see how it really can help students, and I find that it makes my classroom much more engaging. I'm currently working on getting my master's in educational technology, so I believe this is a position that I would be skilled at, but I'd also have a passion for it as well. So, question number 1. What educational background, experiences, and/or characteristics do you bring to the job that make you qualified? Well, I would start by saying the most basic way that I'm qualified is the personal use of technology in my own classroom. I have personally instructed using smartboards, Chromebooks, Google Classroom, and a lot of different gaming apps. I have learned and implemented this technology, or the technology that comes with my science and language arts curriculum. And I'm also currently completing courses for my master's in educational technology. And some of the courses I'm taking now are in technology leadership, using technology for differentiation, and using social media in the classroom. I think that the most valuable characteristic that I possess is my ability and willingness to try anything new. I love to explore or play with any new technology. Sometimes I think that educators can be nervous about experimenting with technology without full training, but I love to experiment and jump right in and learn by doing when I have a new digital tool or a new piece of technology. And I've also found that's the best way to teach my students. Let's try it, let's review how it went, and then together we can make procedures and expectations. And I also think this is a good characteristic to have because it helps me to encourage my students not to be afraid of failure and to experiment and to teach one another. So my students are comfortable and they build community. So I think because I taught that way and I taught with that characteristic of not being afraid to try anything new, I can encourage that mindset in other teachers. So go and try the technology even if you don't know everything about it. Question number 2. What do you know about the ISTE standards? What kind of role do you think these standards should play in our curriculum and instruction? Well, the ISTE standards really are the gold standard, so to speak, when it comes to technology education. They can appear quite complex to start, but they really provide a thorough look at what teachers, students, administration, technology coaches, teacher leaders should be doing to help students be successful with technology in schools. I believe that in my role as technology coach, I should be teaching teachers about the 7 student standards. Teachers have enough to worry about with their own content standards, so it would be my job to know those standards and help them make sure that they're meeting them. We can have these standards at the forefront of our minds to ask ourselves, is the use of our technology hitting these standards? If it isn't, then we're probably just replacing an activity with technology for convenience sake, when really we have an opportunity to help our students become more empowered. These 7 student standards really apply to every single grade level and content area. Some will be more than others, but we can use these standards as a reflective tool. How are we already using our technology? Then we can analyze the areas where we can make our practices better, and then finally we can work towards alignment with the ISTE standards. ISTE also has technology coach standards, which would be my responsibility to know and follow, and I can share those with other teachers so they know what to expect from me in my position as a technology coach. You have outlined the responsibilities a technology coach would have in your building, and by comparing those with the ISTE standards, there may even be some other things that I can be responsible for as a digital coach that can help define my position as a digital coach, which is really nice that ISTE goes in that much detail. Question number 3, do you have knowledge and/or experience integrating technology to support teaching and learning? Please share some specific examples. I do have experience integrating technology in my current position in my current classroom. I was the first teacher on my team to implement Google Classroom. I certainly wasn't an expert when I started. I went to one 6-hour training that our high school teachers were attending as they were implementing one-on-one Chromebooks. And this training was fantastic. It's one of the best trainings I ever went to. So I jumped into using Google Classroom. Over time, my fellow teachers asked me how I used it, and I was able to show them how simple it was and how convenient it was for me and my students. And I've also been able to show them how I utilize different grading apps like Goobrick or Google Quizzes. Another good example of me implementing technology in my own classroom is finding and using different gaming websites that I think students enjoy and find engaging. I use Quizlet, which is an online website that focuses on vocabulary practice and games. I use Kahoot, which is an online quizzing game. And I use Nearpod, which is an interactive presentation website to make some of my lectures more engaging, and it provides students with some immediate feedback, formative assessment. I've also shared these resources with my coworkers, and it's led to our team being really open about sharing ideas and tips with technology. And so it's been fun to be part of a team that has become more collaborative. Question 4, can you give some examples of how you have or would provide professional development to educators? So as the technology coach, I would first help teachers by leading trainings in current school initiatives. So if a school is really focusing on using STAR data, I can dive into that and give trainings on how they can implement technology to help reading scores. If a school is really trying to improve the amount of referrals that they're sending to the office, I can provide resources on how to track data. If teachers need help with Google Suite or Google Suites, or learning how to utilize the parts of the grading system, or understanding new ways to communicate with parents and students, I can do large group entire staff trainings. I'd also provide training for teams or content areas. If I can find resources that I know will help the math teachers or special websites for the science teachers, I would want to research that, share that, and then support those teachers in implementing them. Not just send an email, but actually ask them, is this something you would use, and how can I help you implement it and start using it right away? I also would want to become an expert in all of the online portion of curriculums that the school has purchased. I think sometimes the support person for these big curriculum companies can be hit or miss, but if I can dive into those online tools or those digital resources and I can become an expert, then I can do a lot of the work for the teacher so they don't have to spend their time doing that. Finally, I could provide professional development one-on-one with teachers that are going to have all different kinds of needs. Some people need more support when trying something new. Some people just have a quick question, and I can be there to help teachers on that individual basis as well. Question 5. As a technology integration coach, how and when do you plan to collaborate with teachers to continually assess teacher and student needs and support teaching and learning? Well, I think first it's important to get feedback from your teachers and students. I'm a data person. I like to look at data, and looking at data can really show us the areas where we need help, which websites are being used, what are some of the most common questions that teachers and students have. And part of my job is going to be to collect that data, but then also anticipate what some of those needs will be. I think follow-up will be a huge part of my job as a technology coach as well. I can give a training. A few weeks later, follow up with teachers about how it's going. I can have a one-on-one session with a student, and a day later, a week later, really make sure I follow up with them so they know that you don't ask me one time and then you're on your own to figure it out. I'm here to help you along the way as well. In my current school, an easy time for me to meet with teachers could be during their PLC or their grade level meetings. I would also love to be in the classroom as teachers are using website or apps or trying something new, sometimes just having an extra teacher in the classroom can help the students as they try something new. Or I can observe a classroom, I could provide ideas, I could provide feedback for a teacher if they're struggling with a new type of technology, or they just want feedback on how they can make their learning more enhanced with technology. Question number 6. How do you handle the reluctant teacher who is not comfortable with technology integration in the classroom or is difficult to work with? So I think that all teachers would want to utilize technology if they really believe it's going to have a positive effect. Technology needs to enhance learning or facilitate learning, make something easier, make something faster, or provide a whole new avenue of learning. I think some teachers are reluctant because they don't see the benefits. They see all the time and the training it will take for them to understand it, and all the time that will be used in the classroom to teach our students how to use technology, and they think it can be a waste of time. But I can meet with a teacher to explain those benefits, or I could simply offer what I would call a technology consultation. Essentially, I'd ask the teacher, how can I help you to make your teaching easier or better? Because I bet I can come in and I can find a way that you can use technology to do that. And so that way the feedback is on their terms. So maybe they start by coming to me and saying, I'm really getting bogged down with grading my papers. Is there a way that technology can help me? And I would get them started with some different apps, testing some different things out. That could be a way into showing them that taking that time in learning new technology is really going to benefit them and their students. I think other teachers are reluctant because they just simply lack confidence. Some teachers feel more confident with a lot of upfront training, and I could provide that training one-on-one. And then just encourage teachers not to be afraid to experiment in their classroom. You can try a new piece of technology and it can totally fail, but you come back the next day and you talk with your students and you figure out what went wrong and you try it again. I think students, they like to experiment. They like to test things out and explore and provide that feedback. Then you're really creating that community of learners, which can be such a positive complement to online digital learning as well. Question number 7. How would you work closely with the curriculum and instruction department, and how would you develop that relationship? As the technology coach, I think it's very important that I work with the curriculum director or the instruction department. Whenever a school adopts a new curriculum with online resources, I would want to become an expert in every system. If we only depend on the teachers to become experts in those systems, it's overwhelming and I wouldn't really be able to help them. Ideally, I could attend all of the same curriculum trainings as the teachers, especially if those curriculum trainings are heavy in digital content, or we're going to a curriculum that's a completely online format, which seems to be a current trend. I could also work with the teachers and the curriculum director as they create their curriculum maps. I can help them think about technology standards and skills, such as the ISTE standards. And I think because I've already been a classroom teacher, I've already gone through a curriculum review, I understand teachers have a lot to think about when they're adopting a new curriculum. They already have enough on their plate. And as a technology coach, I can be there to implement those technology standards and be listening in as they're creating their curriculum maps and point out where they can really hit some of these technology skills. Question number 8. What do you believe are the important trends in educational technology? What is your vision for technology in education? Well, I think the most important trend in educational technology is simply implementing one-to-one accessibility. A lot of schools still don't have simple accessibility where every single student can access the internet on a daily basis. So knowing how to obtain funding, implementing that organization of one-to-one technology, teaching students how to be good digital citizens is still step one for a lot of places. I think that really needs to be a strong foundation. And if you don't have someone coordinating accessibility, you really don't have a foundation. Teachers are really just kind of out on their own, implementing different techniques as they go. You don't really have a systematic technology system in place in your building. So that one-to-one accessibility, I think, is your foundation. It's most important. I think the next important trend is really about using technology to learn in a completely new way. Instead of using technology to replace paper or replace a different learning activity, we have to ask ourselves, what can we do to create new ways of learning? Students we have now are learning and processing and just thinking in a different way and at a different pace than even the students of 10 years ago. So we need to make sure that we're using technology to create and communicate, and also allowing our students the ability to be creative and really, taking their skills and being the ones to create something new. I also think that technology can be a powerful tool for personalized education. We know that not every student, fits the mold that most public schools have. But we can still be inclusive. We can still make sure we're meeting the needs of every student by using technology to create a little bit more personalized plan for some students. Question 9. What would be your most important priorities for your first week on the job? First month, first year. In my first week on the job, I would like to meet the teachers and get a needs assessment out there. I would want to know what teachers really feel they need assistance in. From there, I can start immediately providing support in those areas, and I can start mapping out how am I going to meet these needs throughout the year. Are there some needs that I can address right away and take care of? Are there some needs that are going to be ongoing? In the first month, I would like to actually visit the classrooms and get an inventory for the technology, the actual hardware that's being used. What are some apps or websites that I see are being used? How common are we using technology? Is there anything that all classrooms are doing? Are some content areas on the same page? What type of technology are students using? What are the different rules that teachers have in their classrooms? And I think those classroom observations, that data collection, will give me a really solid idea of how we can take teaching and learning to the next level utilizing technology. And then in the first year, I would have a goal of studying, researching, and becoming an expert in the online curriculums the district has purchased. I would also like to establish a consistent way for teachers and students to contact me for support, and then make sure that I've implemented those opportunities for all to know. Well, I believe I would be a top choice for this position as technology coach. In my current position, I've been a teacher leader in technology, and my fellow coworkers ask me for support and help with all things technology. Students are comfortable in my classroom using technology because I have a problem-solving type approach where my students learn by doing. So essentially, I've been doing the job as a technology coach for a long time within my own grade level. And because I have a strong background in using technology in my own classroom, I understand where teachers are coming from. They have a lot going on. I believe I can help teachers enhance their teaching and ultimately have more successful classrooms and feel really comfortable using technology. Their students are comfortable using technology, their students are craving using technology, and we want everyone to be on the same page. And I also think I have a passion for technology that I think you need to lead as a technology coach. I want teachers to be excited, I want students to be excited, I want teachers and students to really learn or experiment or push the limits on how they use technology. And I think you need a passion, you need an excitement for technology like I have. So thank you.